As promised, episode 5, and it only took me 3 months. Last time on the Lazy Scrapbooker Under Pressure School's Out, Nathaniel had the most perfect graduation party, and I enjoyed all the festivities and put the high school album on the back burner. It was the best decision. And I shared the albums with you that I did have on display at the party. Hi, I'm Donna Guest, the Lazy Scrapbooker and Creative Memories Advisor. I'm glad you joined me for this album flip through. Now, the final episode of School's Out. I'm excited to tell you that I finally finished Nathaniel's full high school and graduation album. It's the one that I was hoping to finish by the time of his party, but I really prioritized, and I prioritized well, and I just enjoyed the week with him and all the fun that graduation brings. So 3 months later, I've got the album done. Nathaniel and Jeff return home tomorrow after their 2-week baseball blowout road trip, and I'm so excited to show the album to him. If you watched my previous series, you guys know how stubborn I am about getting everything into one album whenever possible. But this album of Nathaniel's, it fails every test I give it to see if it should be in one album. First, the number of pages. Creative Memories said there should be a maximum of 96 pages, which is 48 sheets in one album. This one has 53 sheets for 106 pages. Too many. It also fails the weight test. Creative Memories says the maximum weight of a 12 by 12 album should be no more than 8 pounds. This one, 10 pounds, 7 ounces, which is only slightly more than Nathaniel when he was born. And finally, the thickness test. You can use your multi-tool. The little blue handle on it will tell you how thick the pages should be in your album. Again, it fails this test as well. So the measurements all tell me I need to make this into 2 albums, which I probably will, but I'm just going to wait to show Nathaniel because I always love to get his opinion of it as well, because he has a surprisingly strong opinion about scrapbooks. I don't know where he gets it. But if and when we go the 2 album route, I already have a plan for how I'm going to do it. Believe it or not, there's a clean split down the middle. I'll just have to add a couple of pages. So let's get started and let's take a look at the album. I hope you love it. Here it is, all 10 pounds, 7 ounces. And you can see the thickness of it here with the custom spine I've had made. It's just too big, so heavy, too many pages, too thick, but we'll take care of that. So let's look at it as it is now so that you can see all pages, all 106 of them. The cover is from 2022 or 23. It was our graduation cover, obviously, and I paired it with a ruby red spine because that is a school color, red and black and gray. Honestly, I think there's too much going on here, so I'm happy to change that just with the black and the silver and the gold and the red and the black letters. I think it's too much, and that takes a lot for me to say that. So I think this one will look better with possibly a black spine and silver lettering, and then we'll do a plain red album for the first half of it with this spine that I've already had made. Unless Nathaniel, of course, has some really big opinion about something else, but I think that's the perfect plan for this. So let's take a look. I still need to write something personal in here, and my cover page, you know what? I went for something pretty simple, actually. And I'll try to get the glare off of here. There we go. I was going to use one of my templates, but I decided simple was best, and it was late and I was really tired. I think it looks great because it allowed me to use the front and back with 2 extra graduation announcements that I still had on hand. And all I did here was just trim a 1/2 inch off of 2 adjacent sides of platinum shimmer paper, and then I put the black shimmer paper in the background. And actually, I was thrifty and I trimmed out a large portion of that, so this is actually just a border going around the back because I wanted to save that paper. Then I used some stickers I got at our local party store that is his school logo, an A, and then spell the rest with the black sans serif font, which is pretty much my favorite. I used the back to school collection for a large part of this, and this is the annual paper pack that we have, and if you missed out on that one, our newest school days collection has the same thing, just with different colors, different shades basically. It allowed me to journal a lot on these stripes, and I tried to stay consistent throughout the book by using a 5x7 of his official school picture, his student ID here, and then of course getting into the pages. Now, I don't have a lot for high school. I really don't, because he didn't do a lot of activities other than just rec league baseball, which, as you saw in episode 4, I had 2 whole albums of that. But you know I like simple pages, so I just have one special photo matted from the first day of school. And this was back in August of 2020 when we started school for 2.5 months at home. I even have a screenshot here that I took and printed on a photo that says this site can't be reached, because basically they crashed the system on day 1. So for those at-home school days, I just included some pictures from the time. And this is the Rainbow Ripple Punch. I love that punch. And then I have a 12 by 12 pocket page here with just transcripts, some school works, his schedule, things like that. Just things to keep. And I see some classwork in there as well. And on the other side, this one was more organized. It was literature. So I didn't save everything. I just saved the things that I thought were really cute. Back to a regular page here, and we've got just report card. I miss the days of an actual report card that, you know, was an actual card, but this works too. And then this is a really simple page design. I just love this, where you have a double-sided piece of paper and you just flip up a corner. You know I love easy pages. That's a great one. Nathaniel took the first of 2 drama courses in the 9th grade, and he really did well with it. I wish he had done the plays and all that, but you know what? He was not into practicing every day after school for 3 hours for 4 months, so I don't blame him. I get that. What I did save here was a couple of monologues that he had to learn, and these papers are really in poor shape because they were in his backpack for months and months, and I found them at the end of the year, of course. You know how that goes. So I salvaged them and put them here. And this was with a duo scene that he had to do with a partner. And so I put that here as well. And when you see little things like this, I'm just covering up a kid's name or face because, you know, I don't want to put other people's kids in my videos to respect their privacy. And now we go to sophomore year. I told you I didn't have a lot per grade. Again, with the same picture for consistency, a little bit of journaling, school IDs. I've got his schedule right here, the first day of school picture, and in Carline, I snuck a picture of him talking with someone there as well. More sophomore pictures, and this is one of my absolute favorite punches. It's called the Garland Banner Border Punch. I just love it, and so I punched it in black shimmer, and then I also punched it in platinum shimmer. Cut those out with my microtip scissors and put them on. That is no lazy scrapbooker border there. It takes a minute to do, but I do love the effects of it. And you'll see with my journaling, I used a lot of the write-on journal stickers here, and then over here I used the journaling paper, the white lined paper. So glad we have that back. Then I have some pictures of actual schoolwork here. I love math. It's my favorite subject, but this with the caption ready to work just makes me laugh. Anytime I would ask him, hey, do you have enough pens and pencils in your backpack? He would say, oh yeah, I'm good. And if I would inspect, this lot right here is what I would find. Another peekaboo pocket right here to show more. It really does help you get more pictures on the page. I got 2 extra pictures just by using that. That is a 4x6 peekaboo pocket. This right here is a memory tab in primary. It was sold with the back to school collection. But we do have a tab punch now where you can punch those out of any paper, and we have memory tabs in white as well. Okay, junior year, I need to journal a little bit more right here. Don't have a lot going on right there. And then just some random pictures, and the second day of school, we went out for ice cream. Again, another random picture of the state of his pen. It got worse. It got worse with the next semester. So we've got a transcript here. This is so random. I fussy cut it. It's just basically his favorite drink and his favorite straw. He loves drinking out of a crazy straw, and that one is about 2 feet long. It takes up a lot of room in our kitchen drawers. So here's the first use of an 8.5 by 11 single pocket page. And unlike the 12 by 12 pocket pages, these are side loading. And the reason I use this is Nathaniel, being a student with an IEP, he had a daily chart that basically helped him achieve his goals of being able to focus in class and being able to get started on his own. And he was doing great with that. So I wanted to include that chart so we would have that to remember, just one full chart. And then all the others that we kept, I just cut out some of the great stuff that it said and just put all that on one page. I was surprised I left room for a border there, but I thought that made for a nice memory. And I know I referred to an IEP, and if you're wondering what that is, it is an individual education plan for any child in school that has a learning disability of some sort. Okay, next, another class that Nathaniel really enjoyed was Culinary. I loved when he got the chance to take these electives, and he did great with that. I always joke that if there's one place that Nathaniel Guest is very independent, it is with food. He's been ordering off the menu himself since he was 4 years old, and he is very independent when it comes to preparing food and making sure he gets fed. So this I used the advisor exclusive from a while back called Baked with Love. I was so excited to get to use that finally. The little embellishments and the papers. And this was from a parent night where Jeff and I visited. I was just impressed with this. Look at all those beautiful KitchenAid mixers right there. I'm surprised they weren't in the school color of red though. Just thought of that. And then another one of these small pages where he had to make a menu of a pretend restaurant. And despite all the amazing ideas that Jeff and I were throwing at him, he was adamant about using his own idea called Good Meat Food. Obviously, it is not for vegetarians. It is a restaurant that serves everything with meat. I think bacon was a side dish. Honestly, if I saw this, I'd have to stop there. So he did a good job with it and got an A on it. And I made a habit of saving emails from teachers when they said really good things so that I can include it in his album because I think that's important. It really does make him feel good to read those. Now we're coming to the 2 pages that I waited till the very end to do. This is coming right after his junior year and right before his senior year. This is his teacher, Mrs. Civatella, and this is her coming to one of his ball games with rec ball. It wasn't a school function. She made an effort to come outside of school and come see him play ball, which I thought was really wonderful of her to do. Sadly, she was diagnosed with cancer over that summer and passed away within weeks, actually the day before school was to start. So it was a really rough first day of school because this teacher, I just cannot say enough good things about her. She really, really cared, and she really, really got her students. She taught students that had IEPs. She said they were her people, and she was so fun and really got them and really related to them so well, and he loved her. And so what I did to make these pages, because I told Nathaniel, I said, we really got to put something in your scrapbook about her, and he agreed completely. So what I did is I had a couple of emails from her that I had saved. I have, the online news article about when she passed, and I've saved it right here. I've got, this is my favorite part that we put in this album, I think. Now, she made him laugh so much. She was very funny, had a great sense of humor. And Nathaniel was always telling me what she said that made him laugh. So I asked him, and this was just a little bit ago, so it had been, over a year since she passed. I asked him to write down as many things as he could remember that she said. And I know Nathaniel has a perfect memory, so I have everybody confidence that these are verbatim. He's not going to embellish. He's going to state it exactly as it happened. His memory is exceptional. And he came up with 20 wonderful things that she said, and I put them here in a 5x7, 2 5x7 peekaboo pockets so we can flip through those. And it's just a really sweet way to remember her and for him to remember her because he's always quoting something that she said. I even included an email here to another teacher of his that was one of her close friends. She was Nathaniel's case manager, and she had emailed me about it, and I just put here, I just shared this with Nathaniel. Afterwards, I asked him if he had any message he wanted me to try and get to her. This is the day she passed. And Nathaniel said, yes, tell her I love her very, very much. And she is my favorite teacher at Allatoona. I know that her teacher friend, Nathaniel's case manager, did get that message to her husband. And I like to think that she heard it before she passed. I know that there was an outpouring of love and support for her. So I hope these 2 pages in Nathaniel's album will help us remember her and how special that she was. Now we're off to senior year with the official senior picture that everyone has, of course. And I've got the journaling and student idea there to make that very consistent. Then this year, Nathaniel did something called work-based learning, where he went to a job within the school system for the first half of the day and then went to school in the latter half. So he went to his job during the first half of the day and he worked at the school system's warehouse. It wasn't a paid position, it was for a grade, and he really, really thrived there. More about that later. Next thing is, of course, the official senior photos here being taken. And I call this behind the scenes at Katie, which is a company that does the senior photos. These are some of the heaviest pages I've got in the album because I've got these two colors overlapping in the back just to kind of, play off the green screen. And then I matted every single photo in cardstock. So it's just really heavy, heavy pages. And a peekaboo pocket to even add even more weight. This is my favorite photo in here. He did that just for us. They didn't take this, I did. And it's kind of an inside family joke where we were somewhere for fall break, and there was a train ride, and there was a sign that said premiere class for 18 and up, and premiere class just sounded a little fancy. We asked Nathaniel, what would somebody in premiere class look like? And he did this pose, and we laughed at that. And so now everywhere we go, we have to have a premiere class photo. So here's more on work-based learning, where he had to go to a conference, which he enjoyed very much. Then I've got some random pictures here of him studying, which I thought was great because he finally learned how to study on his own his senior year, and he did so great. He became just such a great student this year. I was so, so proud of him. The transfer. I had to put a page about this. Now, Nathaniel doesn't drive, so he has to take the bus, but because we do school choice for high school, he doesn't go to his district school, he goes to one a little bit farther away. We are the bus. So for 4 years, we drove him to school and from school, and it's only 6 miles one way, so it's not a big deal. We live in a big area, lots of schools. But for the work-based learning, that means we got up extra early, drove him to work-based learning to the warehouse, which is about a 45-minute drive in traffic, then went home or wherever, and then came back and got him, which is only about 20 minutes without traffic, then drove him to school another half hour, and then drove home another 15 minutes, then went back to school and picked him up and came back home. I think we added up. We were in the car about 3 hours a day doing all of this. So that was just for senior year, not a big deal, but it was worth it because that program was so fantastic. This says on February 27th, your cap and gown arrived. I did this page for, I think, a Tuesday tip, maybe a long time ago, and I just held on to it. And it needed 2 photos, and this was just the perfect page to use for these 2 photos. He tried on his cap and gown for the first time. I love that picture. And then I have a close-up of the beautiful logo on the gown. But this is a really cool page here. And I realize as I go through this, just like I do every scrapbook, I start talking about the memories, and I forget to tell you about the page designs, but that's really what it's all about. It's all about the memories. But I have to tell you about this one. This triangle here is to resemble the cap. And then these are 1/8 inch strips, several of them, cut and folded. And then I've got another 8-inch strip around here to look like they're, tied like that, like a tassel. How cute is that? I can't remember where I got that idea. And then I'm so excited about these 2 pages. Towards the end of school, I got an email that Nathaniel had received. He'd been nominated and then had won the award for Work-Based Learning Student of the Year for the Project Life program. And I was so, so proud of him. We both were. And it was a surprise. So Jeff and I got to show up at the warehouse without him knowing and watch him get presented with this award, which was really, really wonderful. And he got a yard sign to keep and a certificate. This is not the actual certificate. The other one has some foil on it. It's really, really pretty, and I had it framed. So I just put a color copy of this. And from my first series that we found out color copying is the way to go. It's better than scanning. And that way I could preserve it here, as well as have the beautiful framed plaque for him. So, so proud of him. Now, senior letters. I'll address those more as we're coming up, but I love the tradition of senior letters. We didn't have that when I was in school many, many decades ago, but they did several at the warehouse where he was working as well. So I kind of put those in early here because we were at the warehouse and we took pictures while we were there. These are 3 guys in the warehouse that Nathaniel just really adored, and they were so good to him. They all wrote a letter together and all signed it, so I put that with their picture. And notice how simple these pages are. I've got letter, matted photo, embellishment. That's it. And a piece of paper in the background. Piece of paper over here. And this paper is from the This Life black and white paper pack. I use that a lot. It really goes well with the graduation stuff. And here's some of the ladies that worked in the office and a card from all of them. And we got to take his picture while we were there. Then while we were there for the award presentation, we got to stay a little bit, and he gave us a tour around the warehouse, which I got to tell you was like time well spent. It just warmed my heart. He took so much ownership in what he was doing. And as we were going through, I would notice, and I had to ask him, is that your handwriting? And yes, it was. I would recognize that handwriting with the all caps anywhere. So I journaled a lot and told about what he was showing us. And that very simple page is all I have on here. It's like a block layout, but with no paper. There's no paper in here. I just punched these with a star punch. That's it. Now this one I got a little bit more fancy with because the fishnet border punch had just come out and I was very excited to use it. So this one's a little bit more fancy. A lot of layering here. This is a totally tonal red paper pack. And this, of course, is the fishnet border. You know, this has nothing to do with fishing or ocean or anything. It's just a really cool design. So you can use that one for anything. The picture of him with a pizza is the following week. He had a goal to meet. If he got enough work done, they would do a pizza party. So they even got him his own pizza. He brought some home at least. Okay, then we get into more senior letters. These are from more teachers and people that work at the warehouse. So I decided to put them all in this section. And again, just plain paper from the This Life black and white. And a few of the stickers that you'll see are coming from the You Graduated collection typically. And I used a lot of these 8.5 by 11 pockets just so that I, could save a little bit of weight and not have to put paper on the back. And I could just put the entire letter in there. But I really just wanted to preserve all those senior letters. He got dozens of them. And I thought that was very important to put them in there. And he has been, as I was making this, he kept asking me, can I look at it? Can I look at it? And of course my answer is yes, but just don't get anything out of order. And he knows that. And he always goes, I'm not going to get anything out of order. But he was telling me he just wanted to read the letters again, which I thought was so sweet. So very important to have those in here if you're doing a graduation album. Preserve those. Then I had to do some pages for graduation shopping. Again, very simple, just wallpapered with black and white paper. I even saved the receipt for the very expensive pants and shirt we had to buy at Jose Banks. I put a little checklist here for his graduation attire. His school was very, very strict on that. They had to have a white dress shirt, a black tie, black dress pants, black belt, black dress shoes, and black socks. And they covered it all up with a red cap and gown. Bless their hearts, in 90-degree weather too. This is the sign that was at our neighborhood front entrance, and I never did get a good picture of him in front of that. Whoops. Then we have Starlight Senior Night here, where the seniors got together on the field. We got to drop him off and pick him up for that. And that's when they got their senior letters in a big, big envelope here to take home. And we had so much fun with this. He received, 36 letters in that envelope, I believe. And so we broke it down. He just read a few a night. And friends and family had sent in letters and mailed them to the school. Some had given them to me and I'd taken them to school, but they gave them all these big envelopes that night with all their letters. So I was so appreciative that he got so many. So I'm just so grateful for everybody that did that. But he read just a few a night to make them last longer. And he read them to us when we were both there. So it just was really a fun thing. We were sad when they were over. Here is a nice tradition, the graduate parade, where they go back to their elementary school and parade through wearing their caps and gowns, which is really cool. So you'd see a lot of different colors. I really love the layout I did here. It's almost like a block layout with these little tiny borders here, not even 1/8 of an inch, but I just used some firecracker red shimmer paper up here. All these embellishments are from the You Graduated collection. This one's not. This one I actually had for something else. I just used it here. And I used some of the younger paper for little kids from the back to school collection. Normally it would have no place in this album, but I thought this was perfect since he was back at the elementary school. But this was a great layout to do because I had all these portrait orientation photos. Another page at the party that they had after the parade, and then a beautiful group picture outside. There's not very many red caps and gowns. School choice. Then I have a page for the yearbook ad, and this was a nice surprise for him because he did not know we were doing a yearbook ad. I did not do one in middle school. I did in elementary school, but we did one here. He definitely deserved to have one. We did a whole half page. And I like this fun border up here using the stickers from You Graduated, and then I have that beautiful garland banner border punch that I showed you earlier. I just punched it twice and then covered the middle with a sticker. So it just looks really cool. And the ad, I want to do this in 3. So I had 3 photos. This cute little photo when he was a little kid with ice cream, a tween photo holding up a very festive wine glass full of some kind of sparkling grape juice, and then a fun baseball picture. I love that photo my sister Lori took after a game. And the ad reads, cheers to you. We are so very proud of you, Nathaniel. May you always keep your kind heart, your enthusiasm for life, and your love of baseball. We love you so much, Mom and Dad. Oh, sweet boy. Then I love these pictures. I think I've made a separate video about how to do these two scrapbook pages, and I'll put that link in the description of this video in case you want to do these. And I had done these for a class, and then I had these done already for quite a while, but they are perfect for these formal graduation photos. That is my favorite graduation photo. It was the photographer's idea, and he said, hey, just do this, and he did it in one try, got the perfect shot. And Nathaniel, that kid could take a good picture too. He's very photogenic. But this is done with the black and white collection from This Life. This is the medallion punch. We don't make it anymore. Too bad, because I know you're going to love it when you see that beautiful punch there. But I just punched that on platinum shimmer. And then I used, I believe this was chili red, a specialty cardstock that we had for a while. Oh, sorry about all these glares. I'm trying to keep it off as much as I can. This is some really old paper here. Well, maybe a couple of years old, but this is an older graduation collection. And so I had saved everything in a bin that I had for that day. Just every time I'd get something, I'd put it aside. So this is the actual graduation day. And this is going to be the midway. This is actually the midway point. So this is where I'm going to start the new album. I think what I'm going to do is let this be the end of volume 1, because that's kind of the end of high school. I'm going to have another page somehow, maybe get him to journal something. That's what I'll do. I'll fill that last page and make him journal something. And then I'll have a new cover page for graduation. I'll figure that out, and then I'll start with these. So in hindsight, this may have been better. These pictures may have been better for the graduation album, but I'm fine with it this way. So I'll figure that out. But this is where the new album is going to start, volume 2. So we have graduation day that started very early, leaving the house at 6:45. Love this picture. Little Nicholas got it here. They're basically dressed alike, and they're black and white. I thought that was very cute. And then, of course, we saved all our copies of the program. So I don't think I have a copy of the program that I slide in here. I just cut it up and used it. And man, it was hot there. It was at least 90 degrees, and their graduation was 9 o'clock in the morning. I used that wonderful arrow punch that was an exclusive so that I could actually point out where he is and all this, because you know what, I might forget in 10 years time. And then to point out where his name is in the program as well. They came in handy. So these pages are pretty simple. I've just got a border over here. That's it. Yeah. And when I look at these, it's not about the papers for me. It's just about the memory. So when I see that, I know I've done a good job. And this is the same layout that I was showing you earlier with those ribbon designs. I had to make a second set for a class I taught. So this was the perfect place to use them for the actual graduation pictures. And this is one that we actually purchased from the professional photographer. Turned out great, of him getting his diploma at the exact moment from the principal. I love that. More of the program there, and I'm still using some of that You Graduated paper here. And basically, notice I did this grid paper, and I like it when I use different sizes. So the grid paper is the full background for both of these. Then I did a small strip of the stars here, and then a large strip of the small stars here. So very asymmetrical, but I love that because this frames that program perfectly. And then I was able to get all the pictures over here. So this one, unlike how I usually do, I actually planned ahead and measured what I had and cut the paper around that. Imagine that. I need to do that every time. So I've got more graduation pictures than I do actual high school pictures, which I didn't know it would be that much. But this, again, we've got black shimmer paper, and this is actually not fully wallpaper. That's white in the background around the photos, and I just filled in the space on both sides. So that's kind of a cool layout there. I just have 3 landscape photos on each side, and I cut the papers to fit around it. And I made sure to get pictures of all of us that were at the graduation, and then more pictures after graduation. And so for this, I've got about a 6-inch sheet here, 3 inches, and then 3 inches. Same thing over here. And I love anything like that where you get to use multiple patterns of paper, and then a sticker on the side here. And I think I layered that. There's a lot going on that right there for me. It's a sticker of little caps, but then I put a border maker cartridge behind it, and I can't even remember which border maker cartridge I used. And then embellishments here, here, and here, and a title right there. So a lot going on, but I got 8 pictures on that 2-page spread. More beautiful graduation photos. The chili pepper paper that we no longer carry just turned out to be perfect because it was a really nice match for his school colors. And this is the brocade border punch. I can't remember, I'm so bad, I don't label mine, but it's really, really pretty. And so I just used the grid paper as a background and just had the 2 strips that are 3 inches, I believe, going through there, and then the border down below it. And then framing one special photo of him in front of his school. Okay, we're still on graduation day, and we had a reservation at a restaurant he'd really been wanting to go to again afterwards. So all 7 of us went to lunch afterwards. So it's a New Orleans themed Cajun restaurant. And so I got to use my masquerade punch for the first time, and of course the dine punch. And I used the Mardi Gras colors here, and it kind of looks like the decor that's on the walls. It's a painting going around the wall there. Kind of looks like that with beads. So I remember being inspired by the wall and wanted to do my page that way. Lots of journaling here and then here. You know I do love to journal. Then we immediately went next door to the ice cream place to get some dessert, and I got to use some of the ice cream stickers from one of the exclusives that came out recently. I was excited about that. And then at home for a very long nap. He had an early morning, and bless his heart, sat in that sun, never complained one bit all morning. Later that day, while Nathaniel took a very long nap, the rest of us did some party prep because his party was the very next day. I love this border. I created this page for one of my online scrapbook challenges that I do on my Facebook page, so definitely check that out. The link is in the description of this video. I do those pretty much every quarter, but it's just a lot of circles, slice, not so much in half, maybe off, and you see how it's just partial circles all throughout. When I did it, I said if I had to do it again, I would put some smaller completed full circles in the middle, and so a lot of people did that. It looked so good. It looked better than this. I love it. Then I capped that off with a border done double-sided with the scallop blade from the 12-inch trimmer. One of my favorite things on this is the shimmer pen I used to color in or just paint over the icing on these cupcakes, and it just gives it a shimmer look, if you can see that. Looks really cool, but the embellishments are from the You Graduated collection. Then I matted every photo, making it a really heavy page. Then over here, it's the next day and ready for the party. So this is a beautiful block layout. You know I love those, with just a few little pieces of You Graduated paper with those gorgeous stars and this beautiful embellishment. More wonderful party pictures, and here's another one of those asymmetrical pages where this page, I think I did this with just 2 sheets of paper, and I believe I cut this off. This is about 7.5 inches, as is this. So I made the cuts at the same place, so this is the same width as this black over here. It's just asymmetrical. I like the way it looks. And then added these beautiful embellishments from You Graduated. That collection just really was so perfect. The timing, of course, but then I loved the embellishments that were included. Oh, I love these pages. These were more that I did for my Facebook scrapbook challenge over the summer. And I used that wonderful baseball paper. And what's so funny, this is from the Grand Slam theme pack that Creative Memories no longer sells. It's sold out. And it's the best baseball paper ever printed. Look at that, it's so wonderful. But what was funny is, as I was doing it, some of the participants said they were watching the video saying, oh my gosh, please don't cover up all those baseballs, don't use the whole page. And I did not. I cut out back here, so I'm just using a portion of the baseballs. I had to save the rest of that. But that's a great technique if you have paper that you really want to, conserve and not use the whole thing. I didn't want to waste all those baseballs behind this red paper in the photos here. So just using my trimmer, I cut out pretty much that much too. Then I used this paper with a tab punch for a peekaboo pocket, and so you can see I punched that out of the baseball paper. This is such a great picture. It's all the kids' phones on the ground. These 17 to 19-year-old boys had so much fun playing baseball in the backyard with a wiffle ball and bat, a plastic bat. Oh, and the best surprise here, Nathaniel's childhood bestie from K through 2nd grade. He moved away, but we had kept in touch, and they hadn't seen each other since the summer before 8th grade, so 5 years. And this was a surprise that I held since December for 5 months when his mom contacted me, said they would be in Atlanta to see all his old friends from when they lived here. So just so exciting. I kept that from Nathaniel. I couldn't believe it, and fortunately got it on film. So beautiful pictures of him being reunited with his wonderful, wonderful friend. We love this family. And so we did get lots of pictures here as well. And I've got a peekaboo pocket with the whole story, so all of my journaling there. And again, I hate covering stuff up, but it's other people's kids. And this is a nice surprise. At the end of the night, when everybody had left, it was just family. Some kids were on the dock at the lake behind our house shooting fireworks over the lake. And it felt like they were just for Nathaniel. Now the party's over, the senior letters. And I'd already put some of these, as you saw earlier in the album, the ones that were from the warehouse for his work-based learning, but most of these are from friends and family from here on out. And so I used a good number of these 8.5 by 11 slide-in pocket pages, because that way I didn't have to scrapbook them, just slide them in. And I won't go through all those. I'll kind of hide those since they have some return addresses on them as well. Keep that private. While I did use the pocket pages for several, some of these I was able to scrapbook, and I usually did this when I combined it with an actual card, because I did get some people that sent a letter and a card, which was really nice. And so I was able to cut the card up, and that way you can see the important pieces, which is the message and the sentiment they wrote, along with the letter. For smaller cards, I was able to cut them up and get so many on the page, as you can see here, and I really put that graduation cap and diploma punch to good use. More wonderful letters. I have one section especially for teachers. Now this is a pretty cool page design I did want to show you. I created this for a class I taught at one of my crops. It is basically strips of paper that are 1 1/4 inch wide. And then I cut them to fit and put them all around. They're in random sizes and random patterns from the same paper pack. And this was the totally tonal red. I used a lot of that since that's a school color. But it made a very nice background for all these cards. Here's that cute little technique again where I fold down a double-sided piece of paper, and this time I actually had more paper behind it, and believe me, I didn't fill the whole page with that beautiful gold shimmer paper. I cut it off about right there, so this is all plain behind it, and then added some cute embellishments with it as well. And then because the album was getting so thick, I had to put some in a 12 by 12 pocket page right here. And finally, the last page is his transcript with that gorgeous punch again. And that's the end. And you can see how the spine doesn't want to stay in when I shut it after all that. Oh my goodness. That's going to be a problem. I'm going to have to make this 2 albums for sure. Let this be a cautionary tale. Look what it did to my spine as I was looking at it. I don't want to have to take the spine out of my album just to look at it. That's just crazy. So I'm even going to order this again because it's got such a bend. Maybe I'll just put it under here for a while. Let that sit. It may just straighten that right out. But if not, I'll just order another spine. They're only $10. I hope you got some good ideas, but I know I just really focused on the memories when I was showing you this because that's what a good scrapbook should do. In addition to the high school album that is now going to be a high school and a graduation album, this is the little 8x8 album I made for Nathaniel right after his graduation party. But what this was, I had this out at the party and I had it there for people to sign, and several of them did. It was so busy. I wish I could have gotten everyone to sign it, but you know how that goes at parties. But I have this cute embellishment here for the cover. And then as we go through, what I did is for each 2-page spread, I have the people who signed it. Now, this is these are family members. They didn't get to sign it, but I've got the card they brought with what they wrote here. And I basically cut the card apart because it was a cute card. I wanted to keep it and put it in here. So what I had for the party, though, is all of this was blank, except for I had the black mat here so people would know not to sign there, so they would know a picture would go there. And then I had an embellishment. These actually aren't Creative Memories embellishments. I got them at a local store, but I needed something really big and I needed to be, just have a lot of them. But there we go. So that's what I did for all the guests at the party. Now, I did not get pictures of everyone, of course. I think I came really close. So we've got a good full book here. So isn't this great? I just love it. And I was able to, I attached these with repositionable tape runner. So once I realized what I wanted to do on the page when I made the album, I was able to move those around. So you can see how I cut apart all these cards and included this in here. And this is just a wonderful, wonderful keepsake. Okay, and then we get to the first page where it was actually signatures by a wonderful family that we're such good friends with. So they all signed it here on this one page. They understood the assignment. And then I have a picture of the family here, and I put that there, and I've got this over here. It's just absolutely perfect. And it's a lot of white space on these pages. I didn't really decorate them really big. I've got the little cap and diploma punch here. That's it. That's all I needed. It's all about the photos and the signatures. And so I won't go through the whole album here, but as you can see, look at all these signatures. So this really became a wonderful keepsake. And then after I got through all the pictures, everyone, I've got over here, and I'm covering things up for privacy, but I put party guest names over here, and I even put the party menu here with one picture I have of food. And then use the balloons and stars and the dine punch to, decorate that. And right here, I actually have the little toothpick holders. The little toothpicks for the cupcakes. I had some leftover ones right here because they were cute. And I actually taped it with washi tape. It's not my best work, but it's fun. And then, because I knew I was running so big on the high school graduation, all those pictures, and you know how big that is, I put a lot of the party pictures in this album so that we use them all, because I know he would want to. And then I have a list of all the gifts he received and pictures of him opening all the gifts. And then the final page says graduation gifts from other friends and family, and I have those all listed there as well. So I hope that gives you a good idea of a book that you could create like that for some kind of birthday party or graduation party, whatever, engagement party, wedding, and then you can turn it into a really, really great keepsake. On September 5th, Jeff and Nathaniel returned home from their 2-week road trip. After settling in, Nathaniel wanted to see his album. So we all sat down at the table and he loved it. He went through the entire album telling us about everything. In hindsight, I really should have let him do the commentary.
And of course, my favorite comment on my behavior sheet gave 5-minute break, but he took 20.
Thanks so much for watching this special episode 5 that wraps up this series. Stay tuned for my next series coming up because they just got back from a 2-week trip. I've got another album to do.